The wind howled across the valley, carrying with it the smell of rain and the promise of danger. Asha stood at the mouth of the cave, her long dark hair tangled by the storm's breath, her eyes fixed on the forest below. She was only 18, but already she knew what survival meant. Every day was a battle against hunger, against the beasts that lurked in the shadows, and against the rival tribes that claimed the land beyond the river. Her people were few. 20 souls in all, bound together by fire, blood, and the fragile hope of another sunrise. Her father had once led them, but age had bent his back and dulled his spear. Now, much of the tribe's burden fell on the young, and on Asha most of all. Each morning began with hunger. There were no guarantees in the Stone Age, no crops stored in barns, no herds waiting in fenced pastures. Life was taken day by day, meal by meal. The men of the tribe carried spears tipped with sharpened stone, venturing out into the forest to hunt deer or wild boar. The women gathered roots, berries, and nuts, their fingers stained with soil and their arms scratched by thorns. But Asha did not fit neatly into either role. She was a gatherer by duty, yet her spirit pulled her toward the hunt. Her hands were calloused from scraping hides, but her heart raced when she held a spear. Some in the tribe whispered that it was not a woman's place, but hunger had no patience for tradition. Asha had killed once before, a wild goat cornered on the cliffs, and the memory of it gave her both pride and unease. That morning, the signs were grim. The hunters returned empty-handed, their faces drawn with frustration. The forest was quiet, too quiet. Prey had moved on, driven by the early storms. The tribe would have to travel farther, risk more. By nightfall, the storm had broken. Rain lashed against the rocks, and lightning split the sky with violent light. The tribe huddled around the fire, the flames their only shield against the dark. Asha sat close to her younger brother, Kiro, who clutched a strip of dried meat. He was only 10, his bones sharp beneath his skin, his eyes wide with the fear of going hungry. Suddenly, a roar echoed across the valley, deep, guttural, and terrifying. The fire crackled as the tribe froze in silence. They knew that sound. It was the voice of the cave lion, a predator larger and stronger than any man. Hungry enough to challenge fire itself, her father rose unsteadily, clutching his spear. Asha's heart hammered in her chest. The lion was near, its growl rolling closer through the storm. If it came too close, if the fire dimmed even for a moment, the beast would strike. The tribe shouted, banging stones together, feeding branches into the flames. Sparks shot into the air, and for a moment, the lion's roar faded into the distance. But everyone knew it was still out there waiting. Nature in the Stone Age was not a backdrop. It was an enemy, patient and merciless. Days passed. Food grew scarcer. The storm had driven prey animals away, and the tribe's firewood was dwindling. A decision had to be made. Asha and a hunting party would cross the river into rival territory, a place where danger came not only from beasts but from other humans. They set out at dawn, spears strapped across their backs, feet sinking into the mud. The river was swollen, rushing with icy water. Crossing it meant risking lives, but staying behind meant starvation. As they climbed the opposite bank, Asha's instincts prickled. She felt eyes on them. The forest here was different. Unfamiliar paths, broken branches, footprints too fresh to belong to animals. The rival tribe lived beyond these trees. Fierce and territorial, they were known to kill trespassers without hesitation. Asha tightened her grip on her spear. The line between friend and enemy in those days was thin, and blood was often the only marker of territory. By midday, they found tracks of deer. Hope surged. They prepared an ambush near the clearing, crouching in silence. But just as Asha drew back her spear, another whistle cut through the air. A spear, not theirs, struck the deer first. From the shadows emerged hunters, their faces painted with ash, their eyes sharp with warning. A standoff followed. The two tribes stared at one another, weapons raised. Rain dripped from the trees, each second stretching like eternity. Asha's chest tightened. She could feel her people behind her, waiting for her to act, though she was not their leader. In the Stone Age, hesitation was death. She lowered her spear slowly, raising her empty hand. The rival hunters glared but did not strike. After a long silence, they dragged the deer away, leaving Asha and her party with nothing but the echo of defeat. That night, as they returned with empty hands, Asha could not sleep. She stared at the embers of the dying fire, anger and despair gnawing at her. But then she remembered something, a memory of watching sparks dance when stones struck together. She rose quietly, picked up 2 flints, and struck them above dry moss. Sparks flickered, faint but real. She struck again and again, her hands raw, until a tiny flame caught. Her breath caught with it. For the first time, Asha had made fire, not stolen it from lightning or carried it from another flame. When the others awoke, they stared in awe. Her discovery was more than survival, it was power. With fire, they could travel farther, drive away predators, and cook food that once made them sick. In that moment, Ash's place in the tribe changed. She was not only a gatherer, not only a daughter, she was a maker of life itself. But nature was not finished testing them. Days later, while gathering near the cliffs, the tribe spotted a mammoth. Massive, tusks gleaming in the sun. Its size meant danger, but also enough food to feed them for weeks. The decision was made. They would hunt it. The plan was simple but deadly. The hunters would drive the beast toward the ravine, where spears could find their mark from above. Asha stood among them, her palms sweaty, her heart thundering louder than the mammoth's steps. The chase began. Shouts and stones drove the creature forward, its trumpeting cries shaking the ground. The mammoth charged, furious and desperate. Spears flew, some striking deep, others glancing off its hide. Asha waited until the beast stumbled near the edge, then hurled her spear with all her strength. It struck true. The mammoth roared one last time before tumbling into the ravine below. Silence followed, broken only by the heavy breathing of the hunters. When they climbed down, the sight was overwhelming. The mammoth lay still, a mountain of flesh and bone. The tribe cheered, voices echoing through the valley. For the first time in many moons, they would feast. For the first time in weeks, children would sleep with full bellies. That night, the fire burned brighter than ever. Meat roasted over the flames, the air thick with smoke and triumph. Asha sat beside her brother, watching his eyes glow with joy as he chewed the first real meal in days. But beyond the firelight, she knew danger still lurked. The lion had not gone. The rival tribe still watched. Storms would return and hunger would come again. That was the truth of the Stone Age. Survival was never permanent, only borrowed for another day. Yet something had changed. Asha had seen it in the sparks, in the flames she had birthed with her own hands. Humanity was no longer only at the mercy of nature. They had begun to shape it, to bend it, to fight it with more than fear. Asha looked into the fire and saw more than warmth. She saw the future. She saw the beginning of a path that would one day lead her kind beyond caves and hunger, beyond spears and storms. But for now, she was just Asha, a young woman of the Stone Age, standing between the wrath of nature and the threat of man, surviving with fire in her hands and courage in her heart. And so the story of Asha is not just hers alone. It is the story of all who lived and fought in those ancient days, when the world was wild and survival was the only law. Her fire is our fire, her courage our inheritance. We are here because they endured.